Alright, it's Dusti Martin with Platinum Living Realty. Today we're going to go see something that you don't see here very often, or at least try to, and that is snow in the desert. We're going to take a drive through North Scottsdale into Carefree and down through Cave Creek and see if we can't still see some on the ground. We have maybe between 1 and 3 inches depending on where you were. And so we're going to start in my neighborhood in the Dynamite general area, and it's right on the border between 85255 and 266 and 262, and it's kind of like in the foothills at the base of Pinnacle Peak. So we're going to start there. We're going to drive up Pima Road, and then that goes up through North Scottsdale into Carefree, and then you can kind of see where snow accumulates here in the desert and what life is like here. This is Joe Max Road in North Scottsdale. You'll see on the left is the Redeemer Lutheran Church here on about Scottsdale, and Joe Max, it's on the east side of Scottsdale. And where we're starting at is the dividing line between 85255 and 85266. 85266 is on your left, 255 is on your right. Okay, and that mountain that you're looking at here, straight ahead, is Pinnacle Peak, which the very tip of, if you can see there, is about, it's just over 3,150 feet high, elevation-wise. I think, let me check, yeah, 3,169 is the actual elevation. Where we are at here on Joe Max continuously kind of rises and then dips between 200 feet elevation and 2,200 elevation. So this neighborhood, there's a lot of peaks and valleys, a lot of washes, a lot of like mountain runoff areas that you'll see along the road. And what is here on the left is all currently state land. Someday it will be developed. Most of the stuff in this area on this side of town, in this particular neighborhood, is actually zoned rural residential, and for the most part, eventually someday when it does get sold, it will be a minimum of a 1 acre requirement. The smallest I've seen going into our area is a 3/4 acre development, but rural residential requires a minimum of 41,000 square feet, which is just shy of the 43,000 square feet that would be a full acre. So we're gonna come here to a stop. This is Pima Road. You can see the trailhead here. Out here now. So now we're heading north on Pima. This time of year you do see a lot of cyclists and stuff, so you do need to be careful, but it is also a higher speed limit. So if you are a cyclist, please use caution, because even if you have the right of way, it doesn't matter if you're dead. So that's just not a fight you're gonna win if somebody's not paying attention, or you fall over or get blown over. We do get wind every day in our area, usually just a breeze, the updraft and the downdraft coming in through the mountains. And what do you know, there you can see the snow already. We're coming up to Dynamite right here. And you'll see on the right side of the road now is actually 85262. That is going to cover parts of North Scottsdale like Troon, but it also goes so far east that it also includes Rio Verde, and some places out in the Rio Verde area, not necessarily the retirement community that's out there, but there is some unincorporated county, and it'll have either a Rio Verde or a Scottsdale address with an 85262 zip code. And wow, that's a lot of people who would have to see the snow today. Anyway, it does include that zip code. The zip code is not very densely populated, and so that's why it covers so much area. I think on the camera you can start to see, once we get past these trees, you can see that kind of plateau up there, and that is the new River Mesa. and that's inside the Tonto National Forest. And the new River Mesa is actually 4,670 feet high. It's not that Arizona or the valley in general doesn't get precipitation in the winter, it's that it's not usually cold enough or wet enough at the same time. Usually a storm will come through, it'll cool everything down, and then it'll freeze after the storm has moved out. That's kind of our normal winter pattern. Even for the monsoons, we've had a couple weird monsoons where it was 100 degrees one day, or 1 minute 105, and then this massive storm comes through, and before you know it, it's like 64 or 5 degrees. Sometimes you'll see a snow flurry very late at night or very early in the morning, usually around midnight, 1, 2 a.m. It gets coldest here around 4 to 5 a.m. This time of year, 6 or 7 a.m. can be the coldest. And so early this morning, around 6, 7, 8 a.m., it was still having snow flurries on and off, and that's probably why you can still see so much of the snow now. We're gonna go up towards the Raven's Nest in North Scottsdale. Scottsdale is a long, skinny strip. In most areas in town, the city isn't more than just 4 or 5 miles wide. One of the narrowest points, it's only about 2 miles wide. And it's just a long, skinny strip that runs north to south. And then it kind of, when it gets up to the Carefree area, it kind of jogs around Carefree and then continues up until the Tonto National Forest, where it can't go any further. Temperatures up here do tend to be cooler than the rest of the valley, mostly because of the elevation. If I remember correctly, the elevation of Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport is only like 800 or 900 feet above sea level, where here in Cave Creek and Carefree, you can have anywhere from 2,000 foot elevation to 3,500 feet, depending on where you live on the mountain. And in some parts of Cave Creek and Carefree, if you are on Black Mountain, there's a good chance that you are very close to that 3,000 foot mark. New River Mesa is a super hikeable plateau that a lot of locals frequent, a lot of tourists frequent. Absolutely gorgeous hiking in there. Back into that preserve area, there's also the cave that Cave Creek was named after. So if you like the outdoors, this place is definitely for you. Here we are coming up. Now, we are just now entering the town of Carefree. The elevation right at this point is just over 2,500 feet above sea level. And this is Cave Creek Road, actually. We're gonna turn here and head towards the Raven's Nest. It is not normally this busy here, I will just say that. This is people who came up to look at the snow. This is normally you see a few cars like you see here going east with me now, but that huge backup you saw at the stop line, not typical Cave Creek and Carefree traffic, at least at this junction. Sometimes long holiday weekends in the summer, or when the weather's really nice, people going out to the lake to go boating or skiing or fish, whatever. But it's not something you necessarily see this many cars of. This area earlier this morning did have a little bit of dusting of snow. Now this is the community Desert Mountain. It's gated. It's a very nice community. I've shown some lots and some houses in there, and it is beautiful. Great golf course community, lots of things to do, lots of amenities, great community center, but you've got to like wide open spaces and not be too terribly bothered if you don't have your own wall, basically. There are certain properties in there that as you're driving into the community, you can see right into the living rooms and bedrooms of the residents. A lot of people in there are seasonal residents anyway, so it may not bother them. There's all these, shades and stuff like that, but I'm kind of the person like to not be able to look out and see the road or see other people. I like my privacy. But it is a fabulous golf community, and the homes are absolutely amazing in there. Once you get back in here, you do start to climb elevation really rapidly as you go into the Tonto National Forest. Bartlett Lake, this is also the turnoff. If you want to go to Bartlett Lake, I highly recommend it. I like Bartlett Lake simply because it is smaller, quieter, less people, faster, at least for me to get to. I'm a huge fan. This is a local hideaway called the Raven's Nest. It's on Old Mine Road, Cave Creek Road, up here in North Scottsdale. It is basically the last place that you can get something to drink out here before you head into the Tonto National Forest. There's nothing past this. And you can see these homes just climb straight up the mountain, so you can literally go right up into these neighborhoods, and the snow is literally just right there. The cool place about the Raven's Nest is that the views, you have this patio, this open patio seating, and it's pretty awesome. And then this, if you can see the golf course right in front of us, that big old white thing's snow on our golf course here. Off in the distance you can see the Superstition Mountains, and if the clouds weren't so low you'd be able to see off to the east the Four Peaks mountain range. However, it is covered in clouds and snow. It'll probably be there for a few days. So what you're looking at there off in the distance before we turned is the backside of the Superstition Mountain. The iconic pictures usually come from either the west side of it when you're looking at it from the west looking east, or if you're on the south side of it and looking north into some of the more iconic rock formations. But lucky us, if you're lucky enough to live up this high, you get to see its backside. And then as we come over this hill, we're actually seeing all of Cave Creek, Carefree, North Scottsdale off in the distance. And that big mountain that we're looking at on the left side of our screen, that is Black Mountain. That is half Cave Creek, half Carefree, depending on the side you're on. And the elevation there is about 3,400 feet. So even some of the residents there, they didn't get very much, but they did get a little bit of snow dusting last night. It just didn't stick. And I think that's because it just is a little warmer. It's more detached from the rest of the mountain range. But it is also a very popular hiking area. It's also the place where you're going to find some of the most expensive homes in Carefree. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take Cave Creek Road and I'm going to do a drive basically down around Black Mountain. So we're coming down out of North Scottsdale now towards Carefree, and we're on Cave Creek Road. And essentially, the main thoroughfares around town in Cave Creek and Carefree, in North Scottsdale, if you will, tend to make up a big loop, basically, around Black Mountain. Black Mountain is named for the type of rock that's found on Black Mountain. It's black rock, and when the sun hits it a certain way, the whole thing looks black. So your main kind of corridors, if you will, are going to be, at least for Black Mountain or Cave Creek Road, like we're on now, Tom Darlington, which essentially is Scottsdale Road, and then the Carefree Highway. The Carefree Highway runs along the south edge or south base, I should say. Scottsdale Road / Tom Darlington. Basically, where Scottsdale ends and Carefree begins, that's where Tom Darlington is born. And so, when I say born, I mean the road, not the guy. But Tom Darlington Road basically picks up where Scottsdale leaves off, and that goes north up through Carefree on the east side of Black Mountain. And then where it meets with Cave Creek Road, you can basically turn there at Cave Creek and go all the way through town, through Carefree and Cave Creek, and then it'll bring you all the way back down around the mountain to Carefree Highway again. But this right here is Pima Road, where we came up. So here we are going west on Cave Creek from Pima, heading in towards the main town core, Carefree. Eventually come down to a crawl, mostly because as you get into the town core, there's a lot of foot traffic, pedestrian traffic, and even the occasional horseback rider. We do have a couple establishments in town where people can bring their animals. They do have from time to time events, either roping or bull riding or what have you in town. So this is Mule Train Road. You can see we've got Black Mountain here on our left. Gotta say, no matter what time of year you drive through here, it is always a great view. We're coming up on Carefree Town. I guess downtown. We're at the sundial here, right on the left. There's a lot of shopping and dining in there, and it's usually the venue for a lot of the town's festivals and farmers markets and stuff like that. This gas station here actually used to be, we're at Tom Darlington now. If you take Tom Darlington here, you would actually head straight down to Scottsdale Road. But that gas station there used to be one of the only places out here when I was a kid where you could actually, it was like one of the last places you could get gas and fishing bait before you headed to Bartlett Lake. And this is like back in the 80s and early 90s. Cool thing about living in Cave Creek and Carefree is there is no primary property tax for either town. And here we go, we're crossing into Cave Creek here. This is known as the town core. But anyway, so like I was saying, there is no primary property tax. So you're going to have your county tax, right? And you're going to have a little bit for the schools. And then that's it. The city councils and the mayors and the voters in this area operate on a pretty shoestring budget. And the voter pool here is highly unlikely in any scenario to vote for any type of tax increase, even if it's for the school. Regardless, our schools are still some of the highest performing in the state. If you haven't seen that video, you should go visit that video. I'll put the link below. It actually ranks all 5 of the Cave Creek Unified School District elementary schools. Now, the Horny Toad that we just passed, that is a staple. Pomodoro's also a local favorite. We've got our Pioneer Town coming up. Got lots of antiques, lots of art in Cave Creek and Carefree. You're going to find a lot of the more touristy mostly southwestern style furniture that you can't really get anywhere else. Lots of like custom stone sculptures and geodes and pretty much anything. I think the rare earth gallery is actually pretty cool, but I'm also a former diamondologist and gemologist, and I just like rocks, so. This is our near town. Big Earl's Greasy Eats. Me and my kids love that. I also love it. They have adult beverage milkshakes for those of you who are inclined, but also they are super kid friendly, and they do drive-in movies once a month, especially when the weather's really nice. It's totally free. Come get a burger and a shake. As we begin to leave the Cave Creek town core, we're turning south now on the west side of Black Mountain. Cave Creek and Carefree, like I said, have no primary property tax. And because of that, our commercial development is very strategic and very needed. The amount of available space, here we are turning on a Carefree highway heading east now from Cave Creek Road. The town core has only a certain amount of commercial space available to Cave Creek and Carefree with which to generate funds for the two towns to operate. And so the locals do tend to complain here and there about, oh, it's another storage facility, oh, it's another this or that or the other. However, there's just limited space to put anything else, and the land value out here is so much higher than a lot of places that it's not necessarily some place that a mom and pop could necessarily afford to just come and start up. It's incredibly difficult. The community is great about supporting local businesses and stuff like that, but it is also a higher price point when you're looking to start a business. So unfortunately, a lot of our commercial development does tend to be things like storage facilities. Mostly because we have a really high number of seasonal residents, and a lot of times they come in to rent for a season, but they don't stay the whole year. So a lot of people will put their things in storage and then they're gone for 6, 8, 10 months out of the year, and they'll only come for the winter. Usually the low boys with everybody's cars on them that are being shipped out from the East Coast and the colder states, those usually start showing up towards the end of October, and then there's a little bit of a lull for the holidays for Thanksgiving and Christmas, although some people want that white Christmas, but there are definitely those who don't want the snow at all and they want to enjoy the warmth for Christmas. But it's almost as if the minute Christmas is over, everything comes alive, everything gets crowded and packed. Wait times at the restaurants, even in inner city Scottsdale, those all get long, and the same place that you would have been able to just walk in and grab any table you wanted, you now have an hour wait. So it is one of those things to keep in mind. But it's also a slower paced life. The views are amazing. And here we're coming up to North Scottsdale. We've actually got Carefree on the left-hand side of the road, Scottsdale on the right, and we are looking at the boulders. This zip code itself is also just very long and skinny, very much like Scottsdale itself. Alright, here we're coming up on Carefree Highway. our tour of North Scottsdale, Cave Creek and Carefree up along Cave Creek Road, looking at some of the different mountain elevations and different communities along the way. If you have any questions or if you want to see another driving tour of your neighborhood, go ahead and comment below and send me a direct message at Dusti Martin Realtor over on Instagram or pretty much anywhere else you could find me. If you want to know what your home would sell for in today's market, or maybe you think it's time to go live on that mountain, go ahead and give me a call at 480-717-9405 or visit my website at dustimartinrealtor.com.